So this is a video I made on how to make your own ship's ladder for a closet and a really small space. So I didn't want a normal ladder because I wanted something that actually had treads, not just rungs, because I needed these to be wide enough to put my feet on when I'm carrying it somewhat of a load up there, and just ladders hurt my feet too much. So that is part of it. This needs to be collapsible. You can kind of see these two hinge points here, that how it breaks down. And then there was also a hatch here. It just had a piece of cut out chipboard on top of it, but I made that into a hinged plywood cover, and I'll show you more on that soon. But this is you can get these available online also, but I noticed that Home Depot had discontinued their use of the smaller one, and the others were kind of expensive, and I just wanted to build my own. So I did this for about $60 or less. So here's more. So there was a lot of trigger work to how to mount this. So I made it so that it would bend at the highest point I could possibly bend it to be able to fit into the closet, but didn't want this hanging down because it would hit the door. So I had to push this far enough to the left to avoid this mortise handle when it is fully open, and also make sure the depth was not more than it could be to fit within the jamb and then this little hinge offset, so when the door's fully open it will go around it like that. Also had to put a board on the wall so I could hit the studs. I didn't have a stud right here, so I did have some other studs by, so I used a piece of oak actually off of a pallet and sanded it down so that I could get this mounted where I needed it to in the wall, because there was not a stud right here, and then painted it and then put a little hook on there just so my daughter could use it. So that's how this portion works. You can just see the top portion with the straps to keep it from going all the way over. And then also this has these two Simpson brackets on it that I bent up a little bit to be able to hold this rung, and the rung actually is pointed that direction, so this holds it up all the time. It's not very heavy. I've used Southern Yellow Pine for most of it because it's light and cheap. I only used oak for the cleats. Everything else I tried to make as light as I could. So you can kind of get the gist of how it all went together, and then how it goes when it's not in use, which is most of the time. So I used these heavier duty type of, almost like a gate bracket, but I didn't think this was going to have enough strength in here just to hold my weight, so I put some extra strapping on here so that this weight could be transferred to a larger portion. It might have ripped out with these 3 screws, so that's what I used that for. So I did that on both sides, and I had to be able to keep it from falling all the way over, and then it would hit my thumb, so I put some nylon here to keep it in place, so it basically held it as a 90. And then for the treads, I used some wood screws basically to hold in place, but wood screws don't have a lot of shear strength, so I put a nail, a larger penny nail in each side that actually does most of the shear strength hold. And so that's how that works. And then I'll show you what I did just to keep it up most of the time. So this is the top of the hatch. I put a couple of hinges on here with 3/4 inch plywood, and then put a little eye screw right there with a nylon rope. Put that through a pulley here. Just put another little eye screw here so that would stay in place. Ran that up to another pulley here, and then down to just a bottle. You could use whatever, but something a little more than just like an apple juice bottle, something a little thicker. So I used this detergent bottle, and I used that because I could put more or less gravel in it, which is what I bought. I bought some pea gravel, and I kept them there so I could adjust the weight. If I ever wanted to put more weight on this, like if I wanted to insulate it, then I could compensate by adding a little bit more weight here. So the way it works is you can just pull this and it doesn't fall down and slam on your fingers. That's what I wanted, something to ease that up and hold it in place, because I couldn't open it up fully to let it rest because of this rafter. So this guy does the work for me, and that's how that all goes together. Now you can kind of see the ladder that I already built, so I'll show you how that works.